What is up, Hexagons and Pulsinators? Unless you're living under a rock, you've probably seen the news. Richard Corazon, Richard Hart, founder of Hex and Pulsechain, has been sued by the SEC for a long list of things. The FUD is at all-time highs. People are calling for Richard Hart to get life in prison. And we saw absolute hysteria on the price chart as well. I think the lows were at 0.000, 4 zeros and a 4. But the price is starting to bottom out. I want to talk about why I'm not too worried about this as someone who's covered the XRP Ripple lawsuit, which just conveniently wrapped up in the past month, and now I have this SEC lawsuit. And something I learned covering the Ripple SEC lawsuit in the past is that the SEC likes to throw water where there isn't always fire. So let's just hop right into it. Take a listen to this clip from your friend Somni. But first off, actually, let me just read you through the summary of action. This is the official SEC document. Richard Schuler, also known as Richard Hart, is an American-born internet marketer, content creator, and serial entrepreneur living in Finland. So now we know, finally, he's been doxxed. Richard Hart is a person living in Finland. Hart operates through 3 unincorporated alter egos. This is another big claim here: Hex, Pulsechain, and PulseX. Now, I'm assuming when I say Richard is the one behind Pulsechain and PulseX that he is, but we all kind of make that naked assumption. And so this allegation is very interesting because it's going to show, and I'm no lawyer, a legal entity would be great on this matter, how important is word choice here, right? How important are actions and how important is word choice? Because we all know these entities potentially could be tied to him. There's probably a high likelihood if we want to talk gambling odds. But at the end of the day, he's always made it very clear that it's not him, right? Beginning in December 2019 and continuing for at least the 3 next years, Hart raised more than $1 billion in the unregistered offer and sale of crypto asset securities to retail investors in the U.S. and abroad. Hart engaged in 3 separate offerings: Hex, Pulsechain, and PulseX. Each was and is a crypto asset security. Big allegation here, claiming that each 3 of these is a crypto asset security. Pulsechain and PulseX are crypto asset security platforms designed, created, and maintained by Hart. Another big allegation. Hart continually touted these investments as pathways to grandiose wealth for investors, claiming that Hex, for example, was built to be the highest appreciating asset that has ever existed in the history of man. Hart hired and directed developers to build and maintain the software to support Hex, Pulsechain, and PulseX. Although, which that right there is categorically false, right? Hex is immutable code. It's already done. There is no maintaining involved with the Hex smart contract, right? There's no maintaining that thing. Although Hart claimed these investments were for the vague purpose of supporting free speech, he did not disclose that he used millions of dollars of Pulsechain investor funds to buy luxury goods for himself. Okay, so let's talk about that claim right there. People have always said, "Oh, Richard Hart is spending millions of your dollars on these nice clothes." Yes, his Gucci, his Louis Vuitton designer clothes, they're a lot of money to us, but to multimillionaires, $1,000, $5,000 t-shirt isn't as much as it is to us, right? If you look at the blockchain, right, men lie, women lie, and the blockchain doesn't lie. Your friend Somni shows that out of the total investor funds, only 2% of that money that we sacrifice for Pulsechain has been moved. 618 million USD, you can still see is in that Pulsechain sacrifice wallet, which they are claiming they're making the connection, not me, that this sacrifice wallet is directly connected to Richard Hart, which was something that we have to be proved. And if that is the case, that he's been spending all of his investor funds on designer, well, 98%, 99% of the investor money is still in that wallet. Hart, Hex, Pulsechain, and PulseX violated federal security laws through the unregistered offer and sale of securities. Additionally, through the misappropriation of investor assets, Hart and Pulsechain defrauded their investors. So I don't know the backstory of this lawsuit. I don't know how long it's being built up. But keep in mind the SEC, in this case, the Eastern District of New York, is an individual entity. And Richard Hart, like they say, is living in Helsinki, Finland. So what really can the SEC do? I'm genuinely curious. Like I said earlier, I'm no expert in the legal field. And look at the inception of Hex, what Richard Hart was saying. Hex is unique among coins. It launched totally complete. The code has worked perfectly since launch. You can run it or not. There's no need of expectation from profit, from the work of others, nor from middlemen. It's fully decentralized. Some of the reasons it's not a security. There's other reasons as well. For instance, the users do all the work. Only the users themselves can mint the rewards. Every hex that exists was minted into existence by other users, similarly to how Bitcoin miners have mined all Bitcoin. And wait, there's more. The most liquid market for trading hex, Uniswap, is also peer-to-peer and totally decentralized. And we have 36,000 Pulsechain validators now, right? Another example of why Pulsechain is ran by the validators of the network, not one central entity. Look at the Ripple lawsuit, and I would say, my opinion, the ruling that Ripple had for their XRP token was semi-favorable, definitely towards Ripple, not the SEC. There's only 100 validators on the XRP ledger, and Ripple actually runs one as a company. Only one. I'd still argue that's way more centralized than what we see here. Now take a listen to this clip.
Sir.
I've got a delightful treat for you, baby dolls. Have a listen.
Thank you. Chair Gensler, I have a lot of questions and a limited amount of time, so if you could keep your answers to either a yes or a no, that will allow us to get through as many as possible, sir. From your perspective, is it more difficult now for the digital asset industry to access financial products and services in the United States than it was, say, 2 years ago?
Sir, I'm not running one of those businesses. If they came into compliance, I think
Reclaiming my time. The answer, sir, is yes. Do you think you and the SEC have had a role to play in that?
I think we have a role to protect the American investor and the capital markets.
Liar.
Reclaiming my time, sir. You have played an obvious role in that. During your tenure at the SEC, how many rules has the SEC finalized that actually accommodate the existing regulatory framework and are specifically to the digital asset industry so that crypto...
I'm just going to cut this short and actually show you the information that I want to show you. Something I gained from following the Ripple lawsuit for the past 2 years is a recent piece of legislation they've actually put forth to restructure the SEC. Essentially, the way they would restructure the SEC, here's GOP Majority Whip Tom Emmer. Right now you have Gary Gensler, the guy you just saw in that past video clip, looks like a weasel. He's the head of the SEC, the top commissioner. They have introduced legislation to have 3 members from the right, 3 members on the left as a joint commission, and then the 5 SEC commissioners below them. So instead of this monarchy right now with the one SEC ruler, we would have a balanced party of 6 people, 3 from the left, 3 from the right. And in my opinion, there'd be a lot more seeing eye to eye because you'd have a more balanced party instead of someone like Gary Gensler, who's just one person that can be manipulated, controlled. Keep in mind, Gary Gensler, guys, has a net worth of $100 million, and he's our SEC commissioner. He's supposed to care about our investments. That rich guy. Yeah, don't think so. So a lot going on, guys, and the price reacted that way, but hopefully this calms you down a bit. 2 years from now, I think this is going to be looked back as like a big payday type opportunity. I do not think this is the end of Pulsechain and Hex. What is really interesting to me is that this Highest of Stakes documentary is coming out this weekend, right? Let me know if you guys plan to go see that. And now we have these allegations, right? If we learn anything from publicity and Donald Trump, all publicity is good publicity. This lawsuit, not what you want to hear when you wake up in the morning, but I wouldn't give too much credence with it. The SEC does not have a great track record of success. And for someone like Richard Hart, now it's an opportunity. How much do you really care about this freedom, these rights that you talk about? Because now you have an opportunity to fight for one. Thanks for watching, guys. If you made it to the end of the video, comment your thoughts on everything that's going on right now and how you're feeling. And like I said, don't dive too much into this. I think this is just a little blemish on what will be a great track record for Pulsechain. God bless you guys. Until next time.